Hey y'all. I figured I might as well do this one right quick before I take off for the day because the irony of all of this just continues to show how ridiculous so many are. So we're going to discuss it.
Who's a bad girl now? Who's a bad girl now? Who's a bad girl now? I'm such a bad, bad girl.
Good morning, y'all. Hey, Chico. Hey, Britt. Hey, The Real Angel. Good morning, Revival. All right, y'all. I wasn't going to do this one today. I was going to wait and do this one after today. I'm getting ready to go to motocross, but I figured, you know what? I'm one of the only ones that will talk politics. So we're going to get political for a minute and talk about Bullhorn Betty. So for those of you that don't know, Betty's parading her Maga around like it's something special these days. And she says something in her video from today that I just want to point out and talk about because it's kind of irritating to hear anybody say that they are an advocate for victims. Meanwhile, let's forget about all the victims of the GOP. Let's not talk about all the victims of the GOP. Oh, wait, was Trump just found liable for sexually abusing an advice columnist? Sure was. Sure was. So let's go ahead and listen to her for a minute and talk about the actual reality of what she supports. Let's talk about the policy and things she supports. And then I've got a clip of Trump from a couple days ago, his press conference right after the Supreme Court oral arguments that were heard. I listened to the entire thing, by the way. Pretty disappointed in our Supreme Court, if I have to say so myself, but we'll see what their decision is. I have a feeling it's going to be a 7-2, 8-1 decision. Doesn't really matter because he'll still get beat. It will be what it is. But we're going to talk about why this stuff bothers me, and I wish more people would speak up because people like Betty are parading around in the true crime community acting like they give a shit about victims. Meanwhile, it's to push this propaganda and rhetoric. That's the entire intent. Her entire intent of getting known in the true crime community is to push rhetoric like this. That is scary, that is fear-mongering, that is dangerous. And more people should be talking about the political side of her leanings because they're very extreme and not cool. Good morning, everybody. Hey, Brantley, Bo, Kay, Language of Horses. All right, let's listen to this. Volume warning, it is loud and they are going to scream and yell. So if you have AirPods in, be warned. This is Blowhorn Betty. So those of you that don't know what this is about, she is at a Trump rally, I think in South Carolina, North Carolina, one of the two. In the Carolinas, she is considered a front row Joe, ho, hey, you know, whatever. She camps out in her car with a bunch of older people that get there before everybody else. She claims that they have these big jobs that they do. You know, they watch out for the grounds, they do security. They are not appointed by anybody. Let's be clear on this. They are not paid to be there. They're not employed by anybody. This is all volunteer service because, hey, didn't you know it's 2024 and you yourself could quit your job and become a simp for an ex-president, rock his merch, spread his rhetoric, and grift off of the internet to pay your bills. You could too be a part of our amazing economy. Just quit your job and go simp for a president, sell merch all over. I mean, it worked out really well for those guys that took back the border, right? Only to get there to realize that there was no invasion like they were trying to say. Okay. Anyways, as you can tell, I'm a little heated over this situation because this is the stuff people need to start pointing out. Betty is a clown, here nor there, but this is the propaganda that is very dangerous to our youth.
How do you guys feel about?
I want you to take notice of these young kids here. I don't think that most of those that you see in your camera right now are of legal age to vote. Okay? They're there with their mamas and daddies who are pushing this rhetoric that's being spread in our schools. That is where this has come. Okay? Remember, hate is taught. You are not born to hate. Hate is taught, and it's fueled by ignorance.
Make America great again. Let's go. I'm tired of being a soy boy. I'm a man. Joe's gotta go. Joe's gotta go. Joe's gotta go, baby. Joe's gotta
There's all of our front row ho buddies out there on parade. Oh, yeah. Oh, the signs. Save America. How did he, please tell me how he saved America? Anybody? Again, this is not saving America.
Look at that.
Now you're going to have to pay attention to what she says with all of the loud screaming and hollering. But if you can, try to separate out what she's saying to the background noise because it's very interesting.
What do you got for me?
Thought I'd bring you guys live. There's a lot of excitement going on here. People are moving and hollering.
USA! 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 USA!
How freaking embarrassing is all I got to say.
All right, guys, I'll be back. Thank you.
If you want to spend your Saturday doing this, more power to you. Absolutely. Believe in whatever you want, but just don't be surprised when people like me come around and tell you the actual facts of what you're supporting.
So it's full. It's full out here. I mean, we're starting to scrunch in. They're going to be opening up some stuff. There's some broadcasters. Sorry about that. I hit a button. So there you go. It is packed here. This is huge. I mean, this.
It's really not that big. Shit, the line at the DMV was as long as that the other day, truthfully.
The arena is only supposed to be for, I think, 3,000 people, and I can tell
3,000 people. Okay. Woo, yay.
right now, we've had that cap already. This place was full at 6 o'clock this morning. 6 a.m. This area was really full. Again, we are packed in here. We're like packed sardines. I'm excited.
So packed. You're so packed. You're packed like sardines. You can barely even move around, even though you've just been going all the way. Oh, God.
To hear what we have coming up. We've already got our information on what we need to be doing in our county commission meetings and stuff like that moving forward.
Well, they've already got their orders of what they need to be doing at their county commissioner meetings. Okay. Sure, Jan.
And what is down
Did you
here?
tell the kids where they can follow you?
I did not.
Did you tell the kids where they can follow you? I mean, who doesn't want a bunch of minors following them on social media, right? When you're spewing useless propaganda and rhetoric, that's the perfect audience.
And there's a lot of young youth out there. There's a lot of people out there that are really excited to hear this message. I can tell you there's a lot of people that I spoke to out here.
By the way, normally I wouldn't show their faces, but they're out here parading. Their parents are parading them on parade at this dumb thing. So, hey.
On the other side.
Hopefully they look back in 20 years and see, oh God, how embarrassing.
The economy is not better. This is a issue for a lot of people. Permits getting but
she's talking about the economy. Meanwhile, she has came out fully and stated that the reason why she has a channel and does this is to push her political narratives. That's why she does true crime. That's a filler to make some profit so she can push this propaganda. That's why she's here. She doesn't no job besides YouTube. All of these people do the same thing. I mean, again, it's 2024. Your wildest dreams can come true. You yourself can become a grifter, quit your job, and go support the Maga parade.
Our national debt is at $38 trillion. There's a lot of stuff that needs to go on here. And as you know, I'm an advocate for victims.
I'm an advocate for victims. Mind you, again, her words, I'm an advocate for victims. Okay, CPAC is coming up. Matt Gaetz has had allegations against him. He is currently facing a bipartisan ethics board committee because of his allegations and what has happened. Tim Ballard has multiple allegations. Donald Trump was found liable. We're going to get into that. But she's an advocate for victims, just not the victims of the GOP. She doesn't want to talk about all of that. They're not victims, right?
Even victims of our federal government. I am here to
victims of our federal government. What about victims of Trump? What about victims of Tim Ballard when you promoted him? Want to talk about that, Betty?
Advocate for them.
Don't advocate for nobody.
And we want to do something different. We want to make sure that we can get back to work. We want to make sure we have safe places.
We want to make sure we can get back to work. It's as easy as putting in an application and then filling out a job request. Your choice not to work. Nobody's stopping you.
Affordable housing.
Hey, James!
All of these things are affecting every single one of us.
I ain't gonna let you take them chairs past the level section. I ain't gonna let you take them chairs past the level
It's
section.
time to get.
Oh, I'll just leave it.
I know.
Bullhorn Betty's here to save the day.
I didn't even think of that. Just now, look. I'm thinking of it.
Fight for the good. Even though they tried to tell you that there was an invasion at our southern border, even though that's not what was happening. These are asylum seekers. And the only way to change that is through federal legislation or a bill that could be passed that was presented that even the Border Patrol supports. But Trump told his cronies not to even remotely get involved or to attempt to solve things. They don't want to do that because they don't want it to look good on Biden. Again, that's just the reality of what we're dealing with. Biden attempted to do something more aggressive than so many other people have to stop what is going on at the border. But they don't want to talk about that side of it.
I'm not going to get into the wedge issues.
What I'm gonna do is I don't feel like since this is happening right now, I'm just gonna put my chair right here.
Yeah.
If it's not there, it's not there.
We need better schools. What, so you can burn more books that make you uncomfortable in your fifis?
We need our infrastructure.
Only pay $8 when I get out of my wallet.
The United States. There are so many things that need to be done.
He's just hitting every random rambling talking point that Maga runs with. Every single one. The same old bullshit. They have no facts to back it up. They just run with the same BS.
Daniel Lampus. Daniel Lampus. Yeah.
One vote at a time. One vote at a time. You don't like my politics? It is what it is.
Sure don't like your politics because your politics are overlooking a lot of victims when you say you're an advocate for victims. But we'll look at that in a second.
We got to accept me for all of you, not just some.
We don't have to accept you for any of you, especially the scary fear-mongering rhetoric that you push in young, influential, not even voting age children. You know how you like to try and claim that our school teachers and all these people are influencing our kids? Well, take a look at what's actually happening and who is influencing your children.
What is that? This is part of it. All right.
I'll make you toss it.
I'm going to go ahead and take you guys down the line so you guys can see. Sharon, would you hold my bag for me? I'm going to take my live down the line. You don't have to walk. Just sit there. Let's go ahead and walk.
Look how packed it is. Who would have ever thought that in 2024, you can become a simp for the president and sell merch with the president's ex-president's face on it, the previous president's face on it, and make a whole living off of merch? Who would have ever thought this would be the day? It is, my friends.
And that's
the day.
Trump right there in the city.
It's so packed. Oh my goodness.
All this. I'm sorry giving you other Johns, but they
Her camera's breaking up. This is the best part of the video.
capped, honestly. So we're gonna be an overflow. Look at all this. And then of course, coming live, the front row Jones, 47. There's a lot of I can tell you, there's a lot of people out here. There's a lot of people out here that didn't vote this way last year.
We'll see how that pans out.
I can tell you that just from my personal conversations, especially with the young youth here on campus. A lot of them have been changing their ways of thinking. They're seeing what's going on.
See who they're targeting? Again, the youth.
And they say they don't like it. So
they say they don't like it. What issues are you talking to them about? What policies do they not like? What do they think is actually going on?
You know, I guess we'll see. Proof will be in the pudding, what America chooses in 2024. Are we going to start putting money back into our pockets? Or are we going to start putting money back into our government's pockets? Because I'm sick and tired of filling our government up and the money going everywhere else, but to the people here on our streets, like homeless veterans.
Really? You bring up homeless veterans, but yet I've never heard you mention all of the veterans that have been deported after serving our country that are sitting across the border because they were deported. You only use these talking points when it's convenient for you, but you don't really advocate for that because you don't want to talk about mental health. You don't want to talk about addiction issues. You don't want to talk about deportation, the border crisis, humanitarian issues. You don't want to talk about any of that unless it's your talking points that you can just run with, but you have no reason to back it up. You don't actually support those things. Every time anybody tries to get a conversation going about the things that need to be focused on, you and your Maga crew shut the fuck everybody. Oh, nope. And your rage quit.
What about the homeless population? What about the drug epidemic that we have going on in the country right now? What about that?
The drug epidemic. Meanwhile, it's what they're trying to paint this as too is costing people with cancer, chronic pain to not be able to have access to their medications. Again, fear mongering. Guess what's going up? The rate of overdose, because fentanyl is being laced into everything and people are being turned to the streets. It is what it is. You want to look at one side, look at the full picture.
You know, we've got drugs pouring across our borders, killing Americans.
Want to know who supplies most of the guns across the border to the cartels? America.
While we have an open border. Thank you, Texas.
An open border. That's not what this is. Again, they just got shut down majorly on that. JLR's been riding that freaking train of insanity, fear mongering for over a month now.
Shutting that border down and saving.
None of you shut that border down. None of you. You went down there, take your border back. You didn't go down there because JLR is down there. But then you saw what's really happening.
Somebody's life. We know what was saved. So.
But hey, if you would have went on that convoy, you too could have been baptized in a horse trough, a portable horse trough for the low cost of $500 donation. You too could have been baptized and watched the armies of the California versus the Texas Maga going at it, because they can't get their shit together.
All right, guys, I'm not going to take up too much of your time. Just want to let you know where I was, what I'm doing. We're just going to be here. We're going to be doing our thing. I've got some videos coming out, and she wants to dance. She wants to dance. All right, guys, I love you. God bless.
God bless. God bless. Oh, God bless. So she says she's an advocate for Trump. She claims she's an advocate for victims. Well, I shouldn't say Trump. She said victims. Let's look at this article here. And there's many more. A jury found Donald Trump liable Tuesday for sexually abusing advice columnist E. Jean Carroll in 1996, awarding her $5 million in a judgment that could haunt the former president as he campaigns to regain the White House. The verdict was split. Jurors rejected Carroll's claim that she was raped, finding Trump responsible for a lesser degree of sexual abuse. The judgment adds to Trump legal's woes and offers vindication to Carroll, whose allegations had been mocked and dismissed by Trump for years. So again, who are you advocating for? What victims here? Because what it seems you're advocating for is Trump, not victims, not anywhere close to victims. But we can take this a bit further because for those of you that actually pay attention to what's going on, oral arguments were heard by the Supreme Court whether to overturn Colorado's ruling to take Trump off the ballot. So that happened this week. There was a huge hours-long debate back and forth with the Supreme Court justices, which are pretty much an embarrassment. The only one I had a little bit of faith in was Jackson, but she kind of let me down that day too a little bit. Not surprising, but their ruling isn't in yet, so we will see what happens there. But the argument that Trump lawyers continue to make is that it was not an insurrection. January 6th was not an insurrection. It was not an insurrection, okay? That's what they were there arguing. Every time it got brought up that it was an insurrection, everybody continued to try and twist and turn that. So let me actually show you.
The U.S. Supreme Court is said to be.
So this is the press conference that Trump himself gave within moments after the Supreme Court was adjourned. After the oral arguments were heard and they went, he gave a press conference from Mar-a-Lago. And I want to show this because the whole twist and turn of whether it's an insurrection, well, Trump himself fucked up. And I brought it right from Fox to smooth people's feelings over.
All right, I got the gist. No question.
Oh, hold on. Let me back that up.
The court is said to be broadly skeptical in early reporting about the effort to try and kick you off the ballot. Having said that, though, speak to the argument, legal and otherwise, that your detractors have made leading up to today. And it's an argument that was given voice by Mitch McConnell, the Senate Republican leader, not long. All right, I got the gist. No question. Yeah, I got the gist. President Trump is practically and morally responsible for provoking the events of the day. He doesn't say that anymore. So let me just tell you that I heard and I watched, and the one thing I'll say is they kept saying about what I said right after the insurrection. Because I think it was
the insurrection. Oh, wait, did he just slip up and call it the insurrection? He sure as fuck did. But wait, it gets even better.
Insurrection caused by Nancy Pelosi.
Insurrection caused by Nancy Pelosi. So at first they tried to blame Antifa, which that didn't pan out, so they couldn't take it any further. Now he's attempting to say it was an insurrection, but it was an insurrection caused by Nancy Pelosi. Trump, do you even know who you're talking about today? Because I know you have a tendency of getting people confused. Is that the name you meant to say this time?
This was an insurrection, if it was an insurrection, which there were no guns.
But I want you to remember, Betty talks about how she advocates for victims. I actually want to show you even one of the victims of January 6th, Ashley Babbitt, gets mentioned in this, and how that's twisted. But again, she was there as a part of the insurrection. Let's not forget.
Anything except for the fact that they shot Ashley Babbitt. Somebody from the police force shot Ashley Babbitt.
Somebody from the police force, somebody from the Capitol Police who was protecting the Capitol because an insurrection was happening, shot Ashley Babbitt. Why would they push a woman to the front of the line? Why does a woman have to stand in front of all these men, yet they want to take our rights away from us and we don't have the right? They're trying to say we shouldn't have the right to choose anything, right? We should probably just stay barefoot in the kitchen, shut up, right? That's kind of the old school thoughts and feelings here. The Capitol Police were protecting the Capitol, doing their jobs. I thought he was pro back the blue. Where did that go?
So unnecessary, so sad, so horrible. But there were no guns. There were no anything. But if you take...
There were no guns. Meanwhile, they brought a noose to attempt to hang Vice President Mike Pence. Should we not talk about that either? I am so sick of everybody skirting around this political shit that we can't talk about politics. We can't talk about what's actually happening when we need to talk about this shit, because people like Betty and others like her are sending horrible messages, and it's fear-mongering at its finest for Orange Jesus over here.
Take a look at my words right after you take a look at my speech from the Rose Garden.
You can take a look at many of your speeches. I can clip you one way and the other. It is what it is. Don't get me started. Yes, Biden can barely walk off a stage without help. I will get that. We need an age cap. Okay, there's that. But this guy is no freaking better. Not one bit. In fact, the fear-mongering that he has continued to do is amping up the crisis at the border.
Which was very shortly after. Or you take a look at I'm only on Truth now, but at that time, we were tweeting, and I was on Twitter. If you take a look at those 5 or 6 tweets, you will see very beautiful, very heartwarming statements. Go home, the police are doing their job, etc., etc. Beautiful statements. If you see my statement made in the Rose Garden,
he's got accordion hands going. You know he's lying when accordion hands are going. That's what they call him, is accordion hands. That's what he does. If his accordion hands are going, he is lying. Okay. Can I get an amen? Because that's all this fucker does. Excuse me, I'm a little amped up today, but this is the bullshit that I can't stand. And I can't stand people like Betty, who has been doing this for months. The entire time I've been on YouTube, that's been her whole purpose, is to push off this crazy propaganda and rhetoric. Her political aspirations are the only reason why she got in the true crime arena, because she's trying to use that to monetize so she doesn't have to work a job, so she can follow the campaign train around and do this bullshit for Trump, who is a reality TV show prop. That's it.
and I think you have to watch that, because today they said the words of Trump. Now, if you take a look at the words of Democrats over the last period of time, look at Schumer's statement.
And we talk about how we need unity. You want to know who's the most divisive? This motherfucker. This person right here. You guys want to talk about true crime. You're in the true crime arena. You don't see anybody talking about this true crime. Oh, wait, how did that presidential immunity go for you there, Trump? Oh, wait, they found that you're not immune. Oh, shit. That means you could be indicted. Oh, shit. Sucks to suck.
About the Supreme Court, on the steps of the Supreme Court. He sounded like a mob boss. Take a look at any of them. Take a look at any. We put together a tape of vicious, violent statements made by Democrats. Nobody.
You want to talk about vicious, violent statements? What about Marjorie Taylor Greene following around a bunch of victims of a school shooting, calling them crisis actors, terrorizing those children? But yet she's still running her mouth like a government official, praised by Maga.
Brings that up. Take a look at Maxine Waters and the vicious statements that she made. I didn't do that. I said peacefully and patriotically.
Were you peaceful and patriotic when you raped that woman?
The speech was called Peacefully and Patriotically. It's peacefully and patriotically. He said I said bad statement. It was the exact opposite. So I think you should take a look at the statements that I made.
Don't worry, many people take a look at the statements that you've made.
Before and after, and you'll see a whole.
He wants to be able to grab women by the pussy, but he doesn't want you to have the rights to choose what happens to your own body. Remember that when you vote for this fucker. Is there any questions about how I feel about all this and what Betty is doing with her channel? And I will be continuing to rip on her. Most of it will be snark and I will be laughing about it. But I want you to understand how heated I am about this shit, because this isn't something that should be laughed at. These are serious issues that are going on with our country. And people like her are spreading the wrong message. They don't want to talk about anything that's actually going on. They don't want to talk about the reality of things. Yeah, Pickles. He was found liable. Yep, sure is. Sexually abusing people. You want to know why he wasn't charged criminally with a rape? Because of the statute of limitations. That's what. And I hate that P word. I hate it, but that's what his people are so proud to say, right? They're so proud to tote around and wear merch that says, grab me by the, like it's some sort of joke. Meanwhile, voting for somebody who takes the rights for you to choose what's best for your body away. Yep, stacked the Supreme Court. Sorry if I offended you. No, I'm not. No, I'm done apologizing for this bullshit and people not having the capacity to understand how dangerous this type of shit is. Never in the wildest dreams did I think that we would have people peddling merch as a job for a president that was a reality show TV host. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that you could grift off of social media to become a simp for an ex-president who has a bad spray tan. And they do, Revival, and that's the scary thing, is there's a lot of people like this that believe this. Amy, you know, usually I would agree with you on all sides suck, but right now, you can point out a few on the left, but you can point out way more on the GOP side and the extremist views. That's where this is coming from. So even though I do agree that politicians usually suck across the board, there is a lot more allegations of sexual assault, rape, and all of that stuff coming out of the GOP all the time. Why is that? You can't say you advocate for victims, meanwhile supporting somebody like this who re-victimizes victims all the time. Yeah. Oh, maybe that's her aspiration language of horses, is to be one of his, the next Elena Haba. I mean, when is it ever? Elena Haba and her fuck Joe Biden necklace. Seriously, like, how do you guys take this shit seriously anymore? Really? It just blows me. I don't agree. The extreme left isn't triggering. These guys have been triggered since he was in office. He has a whole new thing. Normally, I am very in agreement with the left sucks just as bad, because I am not a fan of many of them. But no, right now, we got to talk about the facts. And the facts are, this isn't the left causing a lot of these issues. This isn't a bipartisan cause of issues. This is called the Maga Republicans at play. That's what this is. Yeah, just another troll. When we have people coming in here that say that are spreading propaganda, like teachers are pushing narratives and doing things like telling about their sex lives to kindergartners, we have a big issue in this country, because that's not happening. But that's what they want you to believe. It's the fear mongering. I only see one side trying to eradicate LGBTQ. I only see that coming from one side. If you don't know what Project 2025 is yet, I really encourage you to go look. If you want to see what their ultimate goal is, I encourage you to go really understand what they really want. It's called a dictatorship. Oh. Yeah, Tracy, there's allegations that have happened against Democratic senators and all sorts of things. Bill Clinton, they can talk about that stuff, but they can't relate what is going on right now and why it's so problematic. Yeah. Yep. She held a black man. She is something else. But what do we have in our future? This is why people need to realize and start talking about this. This is why we have to start talking about it, because realistically, we should be having better options than this. This whole two-party fucking shit is enough to make you go insane as it is. Betty claims she cannot work because she's deaf in one ear. What BS? I have fibro, which is 100 times worse than I work full-time. She is pathetic. There is actually, through Social Security, you have to have a percentage of hearing loss to even qualify as a disability. I can't remember what it is, but I don't know. Lisa, the whole Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce conspiracy is so crazy. And did you guys know that the QAnon people are poking their heads back around too? Isn't that ironic? Q's coming back. It's just crazy. Like, I don't know why. And anytime you try to confront people on this, they rage quit. They say the same talking points. They say the same old bullshit. They shut the door. They don't want to have a conversation. It's Biden, Biden, Biden. Okay, half of the shit that they're talking about with Biden isn't even relevant to what you bring up. And nobody's cheering for him. We're talking about the extreme views and what has actually happened. It was an insurrection. No way around it. Trump admitted it himself. Q never left. Yep. They're popping back out to you. Yep. People need to start talking about this shit, because this is true crime shit. This is stuff that is coming up. Canadian, I would love to know more about the Canadian government. I don't, I'll be honest. Let me go back up here. Uncle Pickles, have you ever heard, hold on, let me see if I have it. Let me see if I have the video right quick. About our Congress. What's going on? Let me see. Just a moment. I think I have it saved, but I might not have. Give me 1 second. Let me look for this video right quick. Because this is, you want to talk about people running for office. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I have it saved. It gives you a good, well, why is my phone acting up? This is the shit I'm just so sick of coming out here and listening to people talk about all this stuff, but not addressing the real issues. Like, I get so fed up with this shit. There's Abby.
Right now.
Oh,
what
here.
do you think it is?
Okay. I'm just going to play the audio for you. Here we go.
Most disgusting sport in this country right now. What do you think it is? Watch.
What do you think the most disgusting sport in the United States is? And it's listed NFL versus NBA. Okay, now listen to what she's going to list.
Dad, guess which is it? Is it NBA or NFL? 36 have been accused of spousal abuse. 7 have been arrested for fraud.
36 have been arrested for spousal abuse. 7 have been arrested for fraud.
19 have been accused of writing bad checks.
19 accused of writing bad checks.
117 have directly or indirectly been bankrupted at least 2 businesses.
117 either directly or indirectly bankrupt at least 2 businesses.
3 have done time for assault. 71.
3 have done time for assault.
I repeat, 71 cannot get a credit card due to their
71 cannot get a credit card due to their bad credit.
bad credit. 14 have been arrested on drug-related charges.
14 on drug-related charges.
8 have been arrested for shoplifting.
8 for shoplifting. Sorry, I'm repeating this so you guys actually hear it.
21 currently are defendants in lawsuits, and
21 current defendants in lawsuits.
84 have been arrested for drunk
84 have been arrested for drunk driving just this
driving
last
in
year.
the last year. How many of you think NBA? How many of you think NFL? Well, the answer is neither. It's the 435 members of the United States Congress.
That, my friends, is the 435 members of the United States Congress. It's not NBA or NFL. That's your Congress. 435 members of Congress. And that's what we're looking at. This is why I said the other day, I'm more qualified than most of these mofos. And that's fact check it. I dare you to. Go do it, because I did it myself. United States Congress. Yep. That ain't an NFL team. That ain't the NBA. That's your Congress. That is why when I say do your research, please start doing your research. Know what you're voting for. I don't give a shit if you worship Orange Jesus. Have at it. Some of you worship Joseph Smith. I mean, that blows my mind just as much, but whatever. Birds of a feather flock together. It is what it is. Okay. If you want to worship mythical things, that's within your right. But at least have the knowledge and information of why you're voting for these people. Since when did it become a social media fad to vote for somebody? By the way, Arizona has women's right and abortion back on the bill this year. It's about time. Some of these states, and I think Florida just might be close to getting it back on the thing too. Again, you want to have a debate about abortion. Let's talk about the reality of who you're harming with that. Let's talk about Scientology forcing abortions on women. You don't want to talk about that, right? You don't want to talk about how Scientology remains able to have tax exemption and force abortions on people. Vote and know what you're voting for. Yes, beer can, I thought so. I am Kathy P. I'm going to get ready right now, but I had to say this because I was amped up after listening to this. I watched this with pure horror. Kyle and a couple of my subs, Accounting Bad Day, will be doing some Betty Snark videos over the last, on her Betty for President channel. They will be doing some combo debunking of Betty videos coming up with her political sphere, because that's Kyle's jam. Kyle is all about this. Like, he keeps asking, has she posted a political video yet? Has she done it? He's like all excited because he can rip her to shreds with his eyes closed on that shit. He's like, let's debate. I'm like, she'll never. But that will be coming some on this channel, because it's time people actually talk about the reality of what she's pushing and the propaganda and why she's using true crime cases to grift. This is what it is. This is exactly what it is. Oh, Uncle Pickles. Funny story there. So let me connect another dot for you. So Tim Ballard, who is the founder and CEO of Operation Underground Railroad, who has now been removed from that and facing a lot of sexual assault allegations on top of 4 civil lawsuits right now, he had an operator by the name of Marisol Nichols, who was an undercover operator who is actually a Scientologist. Marisol Nichols is a Scientologist who is actually connected and has spoke at Elena Cardone, who is Grant Cardone's wife, her 10X stuff. Meanwhile, Grant and Elena push off the narrative that everything that's happened to you is your fault and you need to take ownership of that, everything that's happened to you. She's actually made statements, according to a guy that was on Cults to Consciousness. He told a story about some of it. I actually have it all linked because I'm going to do a whole video of how those connect and the craziness of Scientology and the LDS faith connecting in that fashion. But isn't it interesting that Marisol Nichols wants to talk about stopping human trafficking, meanwhile being a Scientologist? I mean, that's kind of a big deal. Kind of a big deal. Kind of a huge deal that nobody wants to talk about. But I have some pretty interesting videos from Marisol Nichols and Tim Ballard, and then putting in the Elena Cardone piece with Marisol Nichols. So we're going to do that coming up this week. I'm going to walk through that. Oh, Nikki, it's nonsense. And it's just my name on the DA web at gmail.com. I am way behind, you guys. I have not opened my emails. I have like opened them, cherry picked a couple, got disappointed, walked out. So yeah, Lisa, isn't that interesting how they talk about with those talking points, but yet meanwhile, like the cults collide. Absolutely. Oh, thank you, Uncle Pickles. That's Whiskers for you guys that don't know. Hey, B Tim. Oh, I could go on and on about the talking points with all of us. I could really go on for days about this, but I'm going to let her continue to show her mega Republican side. Oh, here comes Michael. You are a traitor to this country, nonsense. You are a disgrace. Go vote for pedophile, senile Joe Biden. First of all, please, again, Michael, find me a source where it says that Joe Biden's a pedophile. I would love to see that. Please source that information. And if being a traitor to the country means that women should have equal right to choose what happens with their bodies as you arrogant dick swinging men, then hell, call me whatever you want. It's not going to hurt my feelings. I don't worship orange Jesus. Doesn't hurt my feelings. I don't worship Joe Biden either, though. This is called, I'm perfectly okay with this. Does your dick swing low? Does it wobble to and fro? Can you tie it in a knot? Can you tie it in a boat? That's going to be my new political song for the next year, because Jesus, come in the door, swinging it around, telling us that, oh, you're a traitor because you have an opposing view and you're a fucking woman. Get back in the kitchen, bitch. I spend most of my time there. Fuck. Oh, term limits and age cap. Yeah, Chico, right? Chico's like, okay, hold on. We can call him a racist. Let's stick to the facts here. Chico can source us on the other stuff, but this other shit, this is why I'm telling you, Chico, it just irritates me because you cannot even argue with them because they have to take it up a notch. Like, let's talk about the things that are actually reality, like the problems. Nobody over here is singing his praises. That's not. Our government is, we're so in debt. Like, okay. I can't wait to see the videos. Nonsense is a traitor. How dare she? Guess what, Michael? I baked cookies yesterday. God damn. See, I just didn't get the muzzle that you wished I would have had. By the way, you left us the other day to go search the 4chan boards when Kyle asked you to source the last information that you came in here spewing incorrectly. Did you ever find those sources? Did you get lost on the 4chan boards trying to vet your information, or Facebook boards? Just wondering. Oh, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lord help us all. If she can be in government office, hell, anybody could. If Marjorie Taylor Greene can take office, Betty has hopes. Hey, Sama. You're not going to hurt my feelings by calling me a traitor. All right. Never going to be a day that happens, because that's not the truth. But the reality is, yeah, Chico, right? Right. Yeah. They always say, well, he can barely stay awake and he's this and this and this. How many times has Trump called his wife the wrong name? Who did Trump get confused in court? Probably don't want to talk about all that, though. I should probably stop hurting people's feelings. Oh, God, skip to my Lou. Yikes. Yeah, there's a lot that ties into this shit. This is like a big deal. And the people that what they think they're stopping, and this is the thing that boggles my mind. So the people who always like talk about how abortion is bad and this and that, and, it should be banned. And they talk about how, God's will and all of this stuff. You don't see them running out and adopting a bunch of children. You don't see them filling their houses with all the kids that are in foster care situations and in group homes. You don't see that. You don't see them advocating for more mental health so people stop killing their kids that they can't care for. You don't see them doing any of that. They just want to tell you what to do with your body. Coco Joe, that's absolutely not actually correct all the way around. That's not true. He's not being charged because his mental state is poor. That's not factual. Find me the article that says that that's why he's not being charged, was just because of his mental health. That's not truthful. That's absolutely more rhetoric that doesn't have fact basis. Please do your research. Please go search why he's actually not being charged. It's please go look at the rulings. Oh my God. Yeah. Cambry, her buddy Mike Lindell could get her on the ballot, I'm sure. I'm sure that would be great. Isn't he a part of Proud Boys, and aren't they a terrorist organization? Yeah, Chico, you got me there. That's exactly how I feel. It is very slightly used in the actual comparison of numbers, how often it is used for birth control versus used for those other things. The percentages stay green. But I agree with you. It shouldn't just be constantly used. But then again, the very people who are using this as a talking point and saying that people are using it solely for birth control are also not out adopting anybody. They're not doing anything to help fix our systems that continue to make things so tough. It's your right to choose. It's your body. I'm not going to tell you what is good for your situation. That's what I'm in camp of. Yeah, there's not enough. They don't want to talk about those things, though. You don't want to talk about the actual reason for the addiction problems. They don't want to talk about the illicit fentanyl and the overdose rates jumping and our prisons being full. You don't want to talk about prison reform and realize that started way back in the 80s. Just Say No, Reagan campaign, continued through the Bush era. All of this stuff. This shit has just been too much. Thank you, Rita. Thank you. This shit is just out of control. Okay, I could go on and on, but I got to go get ready to mingle with all of the dirtbag riders. So I got to go get ready and dressed and ready to go. Absolutely, Nisi. Nobody wants to go out and be like, yeah, I had this. That is such a tragic child loss for so many people. I don't know, like that whole thing, but I just want people to have the right to access to care that they need, no matter what that is. I want all women to have that access, and men, anybody. I want everybody to have a life free for them to make the choices that best impact them and their families. I don't know. I've never been in that situation, Skip to my Lou, so I can't say what I would and wouldn't do. I've never been molested or raped by somebody and gotten pregnant and then had to face the decision of what to do. I couldn't tell you what my option would be in that shoes. So, anyways, before I get really on a tirade, I didn't piss enough people off the other day, so I figured I'd come back for a round two, but get used to it because I'm not afraid to talk about these things. These are the things that continue to keep people in cults, continue to keep people in addiction, continue to keep people in prison, and then releasing monsters out of prison that will potentially reoffend again. These are the conversations that need to happen. We need to talk about policy, the bad policy from here to there that continues to exist, that continues to be happening. People don't even want to realize what is happening right under their noses because they get caught up in the hype. Oh, Sama, that's awesome. Yeah, generally, yeah. Oh, Chico, that's really sorry. Like sad. That's really sad. Stuffed banana. Thank you for bravely going where even court TV won't go. They're syndicated. They have sponsors. I don't. I sponsor myself, and this doesn't pay my bills. So I'm free to say whatever the hell I want to because this is the way it should be. More people need to talk about this stuff and go do research and actually realize you're being lied to. If you want to believe you're being lied to on both sides, please do. Go research it. Our Congress, you just heard what our Congress is made up of. What are we getting to? These are people that are supposed to be making the decisions for the people. At one point in time, they had class and dignity, and they held themselves at a little bit of higher regard. Those days are gone. If you can be a Marjorie Taylor Greene, you can be anybody in the government anymore. I mean, that's just the truth. All right, y'all, have a wonderful day. I will see you guys later because Kyle and I will be streaming from the races. We will stream the races with you from State Farm Stadia. Have a great day, y'all.